children of the night. What music they make.
They're all gonna laugh at you!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What's up?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash you a bit.
Hey there, boys and girls. It's Uncle Hunter, and you're listening to Final Guys. I don't know why I channeled that. Anyway, hi.
That was weird.
It was, right? I felt
That was
Disney-esque.
crazy, don't you know?
Don't you know? I'm joined, as always, by... Oh, Jack's taking a drink. So, Jason Brant.
Yo, what's up?
And the drinker of scotch, Jack Campisi.
Oh, that's smooth.
We're feeling a little goofy.
This is actually some, it was like Jack Daniel's Special Reserve or Jim, some like whiskey that I had just a little bit left, but when I poured it, I was like, oh, that's a little bit more than a little.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we'll see how far I get in it.
I'm drinking Dogfish Head 90-minute Imperial IPA.
Oh, I love that beer.
Yes, I drank a lot of it the other day. I was like, oh, I have another bottle left. Cool.
I'm drinking decaf coffee out of a nice floral mug.
Oh, that's very pretty, Jason.
Yes, I feel manly.
Before we get into all the shenanigans that usually go on here, and we talk about this and that, Jason, how are things going with the book? I want to know.
Good. Considering I haven't written one of these books in 4 years, there's still a bit of an audience for it. So I haven't even started paid promotion on it, so I'm pretty happy so far.
What's the name of the book for some free promotion?
Ruined. The Hunger #4. The first one's still free, but it's only going to be free for probably another week or two. I'm going to take it off permanently free. So get devoured wherever you buy ebooks.
This is awesome. If 10% of our listeners buy a book, that's a whole book you're selling right now.
I'll be so wealthy.
So tonight we are going to dive into a movie called, is it The Clovehitch Killer? Is that how you say it?
Correct.
Clovehitch.
Okay. A movie that I did not see, so I will moderate tonight and I will spark introspective discussion.
Ooh.
I'm sure. As you always do.
Always. I will not mention mops one time, except for this one time. So before we do that, what are the drinking rules brought to us from deep down south, past the equator? What are the rules?
From Sheridan Bradford, who, by the way, has sent a ton of book reviews we're going to be putting on the site over the next month. So probably at least 2 a week. So we're going to have a nice little collection. So go to the site and check out the book reviews. Good shit. All right, the drinking rules. Jack, your words are killer, friend, and knight. Hunter,
I'll call you killer because you slay me.
Hunter, yours are Toxie, Kid, and Watcher. Mine are Burn, Paperback, and Boy. And the bonus words are Wholesome, Father, and Bondage.
As in, I'd like to burn the latest paperback from Jason Brant.
Let me tell you something. If you
It's true.
trolled my YouPorn views, it would be a lot of wholesome father bondage in there.
Wholesome Father Bondage. Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay. Let's begin with a little bit. How do you say news in Spanish?
El Nuzo.
Perfect. Excelente.
Oui.
First of all,
we're broadening our international scope here.
on the heels of our recent episode about Cam, not Cam Neely, the hockey player and star of Dumb and Dumber, but Cam, the porn webcam girl movie, Mr. Jason Blum would like to do a sequel to it. He's not necessarily doing it. So the news story was that somebody asked him about it. He said he would love to do a sequel to it. So what do we learn from this? That websites really will publish anything and call it news to get content out there.
Got to get the clicks.
Yeah.
But I wonder, do you guys want a sequel to Cam?
No, absolutely not. Perfect ending. Don't touch it.
I said it before, that movie was fine, but I'd actually like to see a movie. I was more nervous when she was being jeopardized by the clients rather than the supernatural stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing something more along those lines if they're going to do something in that world.
It does give room for a broader universe of multiple cam girls and this happening all over the place.
Like a Brady Bunch screen.
Dun, 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 dun. Yes. So
I mean, it would just be the same story, though, right? I mean,
I have an
What-
Alice
what-
action figure.
I almost said a massive spoiler. I was just going to say, what's there to... Never mind.
yeah, no, watch it.
The ending does not lend to sequels. I'll put it that way.
I get not sequels with that girl unless you change what it does to other girls.
Well, yeah, otherwise it's just gonna be the same thing.
Look, nobody understands the ending, so you could redo the ending and no one will know.
When I was explaining it, the chat people were like, "Oh,
How about a sequel that follows the guy that runs into her at the store and then she goes to his hotel room?
Oh
What
God,
if
that
it's a whole movie about him.
that guy could have his own movie for sure."
sweaty flubber guy.
Yeah.
His scene in the bathroom is forever etched in my mind.
Or the other guy, the old guy with the watch
Yeah,
or whatever he gives her.
God, no.
That guy was an interesting character because someone comes home, presumably his wife, and he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, that was there were a lot of I got to take a shower moments in that movie.
All right. So did both of you read The Outsider, the Stephen King book?
Yes,
Yep,
his best book in 15 years, 20 years.
really, you'd say that
Oh yeah.
over, say, like Mr. Mercedes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Better than Mr. Mister?
No.
Kyrie-eleison. Oh no,
Well, they're going to make a movie out of it. HBO is working on it.
of course.
And the actor to play the main character, what the hell's his name? I can't find it, is going to be Ben Mendelsohn, which you may remember from such movies as the Star Wars movie where he was the bad guy. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. He's the bad guy in everything now.
When you said you remember him from such movies as, I was thinking of Troy McClure.
That's exactly. Oh, he was in the latest. He's in the Robin Hood movie that just failed with
Oh god, that movie looks so bad.
I thought that was a joke commercial because I was watching Comedy Central at the time. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, look at this stupid skit.
I know it's
That
so
fell
bad. We're probably gonna do that for So Bad It's Good at some point, if I had to guess.
So do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Even after all that, I know Troy McClure.
So remember in The Dark Knight Rises, the guy that Bane, speak of the devil and he shall appear. And he's like, and he twists his head.
No.
He's Catwoman.
Okay. I looked him up. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He is in everything, and I
He is
never
in
knew his
everything.
name.
You guys are great movie podcasters.
You're talking Batman. I don't give a shit about Batman.
How do you not know who Ben Mendelsohn is? Come on. He is in everything. Holy shit.
He's going to be one of the Kree in the new Captain Marvel movie.
So he's just going to be that guy. It's like, oh, you know that guy.
That guy. Anyway, I haven't read the book. Surprise. And
It's a big book. That one might take you a while.
and now that I know there's going to be a movie,
Is it a movie or like a miniseries HBO's doing? Because a miniseries
good
would be
one.
killer for
Actually,
that.
developing new series. Good call. I should read this stuff before I report it. Yes, series adaptation. Jason Bateman is going to executive produce, which I just finished Ozark season 2. Holy crap! Watch Ozark.
That
So
guy's
awesome. I don't think Jason Bateman is in it, but he's executive producing it.
This feels like it would lend well to a series. The first, I don't know, what do you think? 2/3, 3/4 is a great mystery.
It's a police procedural mystery, which is phenomenal.
It could lend really well to a series. I'm looking forward to that, actually.
Do you think they start making the movies of his books while he's still typing them? At this point,
They definitely option them. He says, I'm working on a new book, and it already sells for $10 million.
it's great. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Ben Mendelsohn has been cast in 20 movies before they've been made.
Hey, speaking of movie news, do you have this? They're making Netflix won the rights to The Watcher of Westfield House in New Jersey.
No, because that is lame news, and I don't report that.
That's not lame news because
I kid.
it's a real story that inspired my own book. We Are Always Watching. So
Please.
it's kind of cool. I feel like I almost got a deal.
Step in on the news and tell us.
It's just the Westfield Watcher House is a house in New Jersey where this family moved in and started getting these sinister messages in and around the house. Like, really, go online, read some of the stuff. It's like talking about the blood of their children. So when I saw that in the news a few years ago, I said, I got to write a book about this. And my agent had heard that somebody was already working on the true story. So I fictionalized it. And now Netflix won a war. They were going against Warner Brothers and Bad Robot and Amazon and Fox to get the rights to it. So Netflix, we don't know whether they're doing a movie or a series, but that's going to be coming soon. And the real story is freaking terrifying.
It's weird to the point where I thought they were just making it up, like doing it themselves.
Right.
Because it's like, what?
Yeah. And it's still happening to the people that rent the house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it hasn't stopped, and nobody's caught whoever this is that's doing it.
We have a Swamp Monster Massacre mention in the comments.
Of course we do.
Yes. How is 10 weeks in a row now? Longer?
First of all, I am never going to be just ashamed of Swamp Monster Massacre because that book gave me an enormous writing book deal.
If you ever win an Oscar for best screenplay or adapted screenplay, I'm just going to be in the stand yelling, "He wrote Swamp Monster Massacre."
And I'll be on the Oscars going, "That's right, motherfucker."
It's the best title ever.
I'll skunk ape your ass. Who knew like that book would lead to like a major 3 paperback book deal?
That's how I found you, was Swamp Monster Massacre. So
hey, who knew?
It's hilarious.
I love that book.
I do too.
Yeah, because Jack's in it.
That too, but the throwing of the crocodiles and the alligators.
It's Crocodile Rock, baby.
And then the ending.
I like the beginning with the guy's skull was like honeycombed from too much coke. His face collapses.
That was based on a real person.
Listen, I like to give you guys shit, but no kidding aside, nobody does third acts like Hunter Shea. I always, when I'm reading one of your books, there's always a moment. Oh, here we go.
I'm at that moment in the book I'm writing now. I'm going, oh, here we go.
And because I know you, I love it because I know you really well. So there are times you write something and I'm like, that's so you. And there's other times I'm like, I can't wait to talk to you. And be like, where the hell did you get that from?
I was writing something this morning, and it's this group of people trapped in this resort, this abandoned resort, and there's a killer in the dark somewhere. And I write everything, and I sit back and I go, wow, that's a lot of heads. I had severed heads all over the place. And I'm like, I don't even know where that came from. This is the cool thing about writing at 5 a.m. I wake up, I give myself 5 minutes, and I start typing.
Huh.
So it's almost like you're still dreaming sometimes. So it's really interesting.
Some of my best stuff is if I wake up, I just roll out of bed and start writing. It's weird, but it's true.
Yeah. I was always a night writer, but I've become a day writer, and it's way different.
Yep. I don't know. That was a big tangent.
Yeah, whatever. It gives a little glimpse into our lives here.
Which no one wants.
They want more. I did a poll.
Okay, the homework for everybody listening to this podcast, and including you two clowns. After this is over, you have to go look up the trailer for a movie called Brightburn. It is a James Gunn, written by James, produced by James Gunn, written by his brothers Mark and Brian Gunn. It's a lot of guns. Elizabeth Banks is in it. David Denman, who I think is from The Office. This movie is, when you start to watch it, it looks like a Man of Steel trailer. It is basically the Superman baby crashing has superpowers. But this movie is, what if the kid was bad?
Oh, I think I've seen this.
And then it goes into like a horror movie because it would be terrifying if a kid had the powers of Superman, but acted like an actual kid would act with those kinds of powers.
Right.
So
yeah, I want to see that. It's Elizabeth Banks is in it, right?
Elizabeth Banks is in it.
And this is not to be confused with Breitbart.
It is not Breitbart.
It's Brightburn.
It's coming. It's going to come on May 24th.
Ooh, just in time for my birthday.
I'm looking forward to that one a lot. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah. So like, I just saw the trailer the other day. I was like, oh, we got to make sure people know about this because it looks really good.
I kind of feel like that's the movie version of that short. What is it? The Flying Man or something? Where it's people watching this guy floating in the sky. And
Oh
he's
yeah, it's
just
on
like,
YouTube.
Yeah, and he's like chucking people off of buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of that.
It's good.
He doesn't put them in jail. He just kills them.
Yeah.
And it never tells anyone anything. It's good.
I was thinking about this when I was driving home the other day. I was like, yeah, that's the most unrealistic part of the whole Superman mythos. I know Mom, Pa Kent had such a good influence on him, but every single kid has moments of weakness, and like Superman definitely would have beat the hell out of a bully or fight. Like there's just.
Was it the first one where he sent that football to the moon? Because the bully was picking on him or something? Was that Superman one?
Doesn't he kick it?
He just like launches it into orbit. But he would do that with people's heads.
Yeah.
Or the first time you're playing hockey in gym class and somebody tries to check you and they break their shoulder.
It's almost why Spider-Man, the Spider-Man origin story is so great, because he gets superpowers, so he goes and cashes in on him, and then his uncle dies as a result of it.
Yeah.
Thus, he learns the lesson.
It's such a groove to be free.
My last piece of news has to do with the year in horror, and as we are looking towards the end of the year and what our favorite movies of the year will be. And I regret to inform you that Suspiria will not be on any one of our lists unless we can find a bootleg copy, because Suspiria is not going to hit VOD till January 15th.
I regret to inform you that wouldn't make my list even if I watched the damn thing.
Oh, we're going to have to watch it. But January's coming up, man. There's not going to be anything to watch.
There's nothing there. Yeah, I agree, but it's not, it wouldn't make my list
watch
anyway.
it. I want to watch it because God knows whether it's going to be good or not, but because he's so down on it, we have to do this.
Watch it at my house. Come over and drink and we'll watch it.
Fine with me.
I can just forever go back to, you made me watch Winchester, so you can watch this.
Yeah, well, you guys maybe watch SpiderMan.
That was really good, actually. Shut up.
Pedophile.
You are so funny and uplifting. It's great. I'm actually really curious about Suspiria, because to me, I've said this before, it looks like it's either going to be brilliant or really painful.
It's an inverse of the original, is what I heard.
Yeah, it looks very painful to me. I'm not going to lie, but it's part of what I do.
Jack, why don't you come over? We'll watch the original, then we'll watch the remake together.
The new one's 2.5 hours long.
I know. We're going to have to pee like 80 times in that movie.
But that might be our saving grace. Is that it for news?
That's it. That's it.
El periódico is closed? Okay. Now time for staff peaks.
We have such sights to show you.
You sounded like Cheech outside of the Titty Twister bar in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Looks like pussy fucky. Scary thing, my daughter, when she was 16, her and I had a plan to open up the Titty Twister.
That's
when
scary.
She got older. Yep. It's parenting skills, brother. Parenting skills.
I think you're the Clovehitch killer.
So let's get into a little bit of curation, because the only curation for movies is more movies.
Curation Nation, baby.
Jason, since you usually spend the most amount of time melting your brain, what you got?
I actually only have 3 things this week. I was pretty good. I had other things, but I'm not going to talk about them. So first up is this movie I've been hearing about all year, and Steve Barnard watched and did a review for the site that finally convinced me to get around to it. It's Possum. Have you guys heard about this?
I know how you play it.
Possum, like the animal possum.
Oh, is this coming from Steve?
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
This is disturbing. It's this dude returns to his hometown carrying a bag, and he's this real creepy looking dude. He was the bad guy in the latest Mission Impossible movie.
That guy.
Yeah, he's just
Not
got
Ben
this
Mendelsohn.
look. No. He's carrying around this bag everywhere, and inside is a puppet with spider legs and the face that looks like his, like a man's face and spider legs coming out of a body.
Spider-Man.
What the? Was it a
is
Zanty?
disturbing looking, the puppet, and he's going around to his old home, and there's this guy in there. You don't know what his relationship is right away with this dude, but the guy's shitting on him all the time. People around the town see him, and they're afraid of him and weirded out by him. And there's almost no dialogue in most of the movie, and it's just this guy trying to get rid of this puppet. And it turns out he's some kind of pedophile or something. And
probably like SpiderMan.
Yeah, exactly like SpiderMan. And this puppet is, I mean, it's supposed to be his pedophilia, right? And he keeps trying to get rid of it, and it keeps coming back. He throws it in a river, and when he wakes up in the morning, it's in his bed again. And so the movie
Arachnophilia?
It's extremely symbolic. It's slow. It's incredibly well made. It's disturbing, and I'm good. I don't need to see it again. Super downer.
You're not selling this movie to me. I got to be honest with you.
Either did the reviews on Amazon.
This is a movie for film buffs, to be honest. I mean, the filmmaking is great. The acting is outstanding, but I would never recommend this to a normie in a million years. It's a movie that tries to make you look at someone who's some kind of weird pervert from a different angle, and it does a pretty good job of it. But it's weird. It's disturbing. It's
Hunter,
odd.
you could use that.
Yeah. It's $6.99.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me? It's got to go on sale.
So I would keep this in mind for you guys. I would never recommend it to anyone who's not into really weird shit. So there you go.
I'd
Possum.
probably watch it.
Possum.
All right, Jack, what you got?
I watched the first page.
Oh, the voice page. What'd you think of the page?
I've been looking forward to
First
this.
of all, I noticed that the pudgy, skeevy guy from Cam was the politician.
Yep.
I thought this movie was okay. It's a Purge movie. I don't know why they keep making them, but they make them and I watch them and they're fine. And then I never need to see them again. Like they're perfectly digestible, entertaining movies that I could care less about 5 minutes after I watch them, but I enjoy them while I watch them. And this one, you when you were Hunter, when you were talking about it, you kept throwing like the Trumpy things that were going on and that were very heavy-handed.
Yes.
Then again, I was like, this is kind of where society is going. So
Well, at least where Staten Island's going.
yeah. Definitely great for tour. This movie does for Staten Island what Jason just did for Possum. You're never going to want to go near it.
What'd you think of seeing sweet Marissa Tomei in there?
First of all, let's just rewind back to when My Cousin Vinny came out. And
yeah.
I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember I rented it with a friend of mine and we're watching it. And they kind of dumb her down in that movie.
Kind of.
Almost like when you saw Carla Gugino, whatever, in the Spy Kids movie. You didn't realize she was hot. And like halfway through the movie, you're like, I'm actually in love with this, with the Italian chick and My Cousin Vinny. I'm like, and thus the crush started. And you're right. If you blink, you miss her.
Yeah.
But she was fine. Having a familiar face in there was good.
They did nothing. That was my one complaint. They really did nothing.
They did nothing with it. It was, again, like it's just if you're looking for something to watch, and especially if it comes on Shudder or Netflix, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah, there's some cool shit in that movie.
Yeah, it's just I have trouble remembering which Purge movie's which now.
I was going to ask, where do you put it in the pantheon?
I don't even know. Because I thought the first Purge movie was pretty good, and then there was the one with Frank Grillo I thought was okay.
There's two with Frank Grillo.
Those two were significantly better than the first.
I don't even remember the second one now.
I swear to God, I would love to tattoo on my back a mural of that car with all the lights on it with the Party in the USA and those chicks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one because it had Miley Cyrus music in it.
That was Election Day.
Yeah, those two were good. Yeah, I've been wanting to watch the first Purge. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's fun. There's some familiar faces in the movie. They're like, oh, that guy. Like, I think there's a guy that was on The Practice or something. One of those guys in it. So
I was just afraid this movie was going to get too political. They've always been political, but they did a good job riding the line. And just the trailers for this made me think, oh, are they finally crossing that line?
That's okay. There's enough crazy stuff in it to make you forget it.
The thing is, though, the current political climate and comedic tone in which some of the crap that's happening now in the news is so ridiculous that it actually deserves to be like
Yes.
put on display in a movie like this, because it's we live in a freaking cartoony world.
I don't disagree. I just don't like movies that just preach to me over the quality of the rest of the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's purge preaching though.
It's not really preachy as it is kind of just referencey.
Yeah.
See, I don't mind that.
Yeah, that they have no axe to grind.
Yeah.
They're just mocking.
Well, just axe body spray, but other than that. All right, so first purge, I say watch it.
I agree. I didn't watch this week's movie, but I did watch a movie that I had to watch because I'm getting paid to watch it for Cemetery Dance. So I revisited a thorough classic, and this will be for my Video Visions column about a Christmas movie, a very special Christmas movie called Embrace of the Vampire.
Oh, the Alyssa Milano?
Yeah. Now, I say it's a Christmas movie for me because I got it on Christmas from my dad, who went all around these CD stores in Manhattan to find it for me before the internet existed to get me the unrated DVD.
Because Alyssa Milano gives us some Christmas presents in that.
It was, yeah, he had gotten me Sandra Bullock in Fire on the Amazon, where she's nude in that the year before. So he was on this whole nude.
Your dad is the original Mr. Skin.
Your dad's the coolest.
He was super Mr. Skin. So
the whole puzzle is starting to come together.
I had watched this when he first got it for me. I had a bunch of people at the house. We got
Was
drunk.
your mop handed down from your father?
Oh yes, definitely. Well, he gave me the bucket.
Okay.
I haven't changed the bucket.
That's your family
he
heirloom.
checked your bucket list and there was a bucket on it.
It was a bucket. So I had forgotten that this movie was the full movie is called The Nosferatu Diaries: Embrace of the Vampire.
I didn't know that.
And it begins with Nosferatu writing in his diary.
I don't remember that.
And the
Probably
vampire,
because I fast forwarded to the booby parts.
The vampire is the basis for Spandau Ballet.
Oh, jeez.
So, but it does
that
have
the Asian woman who's like a photographer in it.
It has she's not, I don't know if she's Asian, but there's the
exotic looking. I don't know.
Rachel True from The Craft. She's in it.
Which one's she?
The lovely African American girl with the curly brown hair.
Oh yeah.
Jennifer Tilly is in this movie for a little while as a vampire seductress with her boobs like under her eyes. The cleavage is pushed up so high. It's basically this vampire who is going to die in 3 days because he has an expiration date for no known reason, has to get Alyssa Milano, who is the reincarnation of his love,
of course,
to willfully give herself to him. But unfortunately, she's a virgin raised by nuns living in this school. Well, first of all, she's 17 in this movie.
Oh boy.
The character is 17. She's not 17.
Okay.
The character is 17. I had forgotten how nude she is in this. Like,
I haven't, because I have it on loop right now.
So many long, lingering shots. I have suggested that if you want to play a drinking game, you start chugging the minute her top comes off, and you cannot stop until it goes back on. You'll be dead halfway through the movie. Like, just straight up dead.
If you're going to go with a smile.
Yeah.
Is this only in the unrated one? Because I remember seeing it a long time ago and not thinking it was a good movie, but I remember her being naked, but not that naked.
Oh, yeah. It's not a good movie.
I remember
very naked.
The sex scene where, like, she's laying on a bed, and then there's one vampire.
There's a guy.
Another vampire shows up, and then, like, the head vampire kind of pops up from between her legs at the bed, end of the bed, trying to be all artsy. I lived in a condo with a bunch of my buddies, and we watched this and it was like the Super Bowl. We were just like,
oh, it was incredible. They're like working her boobs, and he comes in and he bangs her. You're like, what the hell?
Okay, I don't remember.
He's the boss. He's the
boss. By that point in the movie, I'm just so uncomfortable. I'm almost looking away. Like, I almost don't want to make eye contact with her.
You're blowing off some team steam.
It was just, I don't know. Anyway, it has all the production value of like that show Silk Stockings.
Oh God, Silk Stockings. No, that was Red Shoe Diaries. Was
okay.
Yeah, no,
get your softcore right.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Silk Stockings was the one in USA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's equally. The soundtrack is just as bad. It's really bad.
I miss that show.
But good for her. Kudos for her for going. Like, like Molly Ringwald, she said, I'm going to be grown up, so I'll show my boobs for 2 seconds in the movie. Alyssa was just like, screw this. Look at them, boys. I paid a lot of money for these.
She was in a Poison Ivy movie, and she didn't even show him that much.
Yeah, she didn't show him as much as Poison Ivy too. She showed him a lot in Outer Limits episode when they came back in the 90s, and they were nude and they were cursing. I own that too. Another gift from my father.
Don't remember that.
Mr. Skin rides again. Yeah. So Embrace the Vampire, if you're an Alyssa Milano fan, it's a must watch. There is a remake from a few years ago.
I still haven't watched it. I saw 5 minutes of it once.
Oh, yeah, I can't
Who cares?
Even. Oh my God.
The story is so terrible. So, but watch it if
I
you're
can't wait to
a
read your
Milano
article
fan.
on it.
Yeah. Should be out by before Christmas.
The Hunter Shea Diaries.
Oh God.
You don't want to read those.
All right, I watched a series exclusive to Shudder called Dead Wax. It's about a record that if you hear it, you die. And
So it's The Ring with the record.
it was kind of like if you mixed The Ring and The Ninth Gate, where Johnny Depp is the book detective guy. The main character in this is like a record thief detective. She's like a record expert. And
It's like Seinfeld with the library detective.
Record thief detective.
so I mean, if you've seen The Ninth Gate, you know what I'm talking about. Like somebody who's an expert and goes and finds rare copies for people and can authenticate shit and blah 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 blah.
Ride the dragon.
This Spandau Ballet album is counterfeit.
True.
This show was good. It was.
What?
I say show. I want to say it was 8 episodes, and each one was 10 to 15 minutes long. So it probably ended up being about the length of a movie. So you can just blast through it, which is what we did. Really cool idea. Who was in it a little bit? Ted Raimi's in it a little bit. It was solid. It was definitely on the lower end of the budget scale. Some of the effects were like, and then some of them were good. But it was neat. I definitely liked it. So if you have Shudder, it's worth the hour and a half or so it'll take to blast through it.
So you'd recommend it. You'd say wax on, not wax off.
Correct.
You often wax off, Jack.
Speaking of Alyssa Milano, I watched a movie featuring Chance the Rapper.
What were we doing this week?
It's called Slice,
I think I'll go back to the pedo movie.
Like Home Slice?
like slice of pizza.
You should have seen me looking this up on Amazon to get the link. I'm like, this is not what he watched. Like, what?
It is. It's a horror movie. It's a horror comedy. The reason I watch it is because Paul Shearer is in it from The League. And I was listening to his podcast, How Did This Get Made? And he mentioned it. And I was like, oh, he's in that? So I watch it. Chance the Rapper plays a werewolf. There's witches and ghosts in it.
Take it.
And Paul Shearer will actually come out and tell you that this movie is not for everybody.
Really?
And I would agree with him. It's a horror comedy that I didn't think was all that funny. Except I thought the parts that he was in, he owns a pizza place in it, and I thought he was funny, and that there was occasionally times where the comedy worked, but there was other times where I don't know, it was trying to take itself too seriously. So,
God.
Why are you being so weird about this movie?
I think it's funny. I can't stop laughing about the concept.
Anywho, yeah.
I want this to work. Does it work?
I don't know if other people might like it. It tries to be like Twin Peaksy, but the jokes that they should have been funnier. The movie is just not as funny as I think they were hoping it was going to be. So
say someone like The Greasy Strangler, would they enjoy
it's
this?
a billion times better than The Greasy Strangler, but not 1/10 as interesting as far as
or as memorable.
But yeah, like The Greasy Strangler, I'm never going to forget. And
No,
it's more cool. Like that's like a.
I won't go to a car wash.
Yeah, Greasy Strangler is something I love to hate, whereas Slice is just sort of forgettable.
Yeah. All right.
That's a kiss of death.
Yeah. Okay.
So don't take a chance on it.
Don't take a slice out of your time. I went to, I think it was Shudder, and I watched a movie called The Lift from it's either 83 or 85. I can't remember. I think it was made in the Netherlands. Check this out. It's about a killer elevator.
What?
I
thought I knew what you're talking about, but now I don't think I do.
I kid you not. It's a killer lift in this building, and it starts out with this restaurant at the top of the building, and these two older men with their younger gumads are having a good time and drunk, and they get in the elevator at the end of the night, and then it stops, and then I guess it gets hot, and the women one guy starts banging his girl when the light goes out, then they start taking off their clothes because they can't breathe.
Going down, Mr. Tyler?
Oh my God. It centers around an elevator repairman and him trying to figure out why this elevator keeps trying to kill people. And
so he's the elevator detective.
He's the elevator detective. He's the elevator expert.
Yeah, he's Shaft.
He's Otis Elevator Man. It takes itself very seriously. If there's humor in here, I might have missed it because I was watching it alone, but it seemed pretty earnest in what they were trying to tell.
So we're over 2 in horror comedies here.
Oh, you can just totally phase in and out of this thing and you'll miss nothing.
So why not just not run the elevator?
Because you need 3 elevators.
So you weren't floored by this movie?
I wasn't floored by this movie.
This is
I felt like I got the shaft when I watched it. It's
I already made a Shaft joke.
It's not too good. It's a movie I'd heard about.
Is it Lift with an I or with a Y? Like the Lift.
That would be cool if it was Life, but it was
like
Lift
the taxi
with an I.
service.
Yeah, no, it was just straight up Lift.
Do you lift, bro? Do you even
far from uplifting?
lift?
But if you have time to kill, if you're sick, say you've got diarrhea, and you can't go to work or you can't do much, just put it on. It's fine.
Okay.
Because then when you have to run to the bathroom, you won't care that you missed it.
You could do your number 2s without pausing, and you'll come right back and you slide right into it.
Could you press 2?
God. I got one more. Do you guys have any more?
No.
All right. I'm going to talk to you about this movie I watched just today, actually. It's the well-known tale about the telekinetic magician guy who dies in a weird accident, is then stuck in a mausoleum, dead, while a sorority, but it's not a sorority, is hazing a girl inside while the guy's body is reanimating dead people and making stuff break. Everyone's seen this movie, but have you seen it?
Is this Mausoleum?
No, this is called One Dark Night. But have you seen it directed by Tom McLaughlin, who did Friday the 13th Part 6, the best one, starring Adam West and Meg Tilly? I think not.
What? No.
That's right.
What on earth have you discovered?
Yes, I had never heard of this movie. I just stumbled upon it and was like, okay, done. This is free on Prime, by the way. One Dark Night.
What's it called?
It sure is. One Dark Night from 1982.
Yep.
Dark Knight. He's the Dark Knight.
So this movie is bizarre. The story makes 0 sense. But
does it, old chum?
It's got this kind of fun quality to it. It felt almost like an undiscovered gem. It's not what I would call a classic, but watching this for the first time was like kind of like when I watched Chud for the first time. It's like, this is not some great movie, but it's fun. The first part of this can be a slog. I was actually putting furniture together while I was doing it, so I wasn't like super zeroed in, which felt good. But once things start happening in the last third or so, there's some pretty cool practical effects. I don't really understand why some of this, but it was fun for a Prime movie. You're definitely gonna do worse.
Right.
Tom McLaughlin. Boom.
I just put it on my watch list.
Meg Tilly is so unrecognizable. I did not know it was her for the first third of the movie. I thought Meg Tilly was in this, and then I'm looking at the main actress. I'm like, holy shit, that's her.
What year is it from?
82. Might be pre Big Chill.
I don't know.
All right,
Meg
I'm
Tilly
gonna
was
watch
a
it.
Smoke show back then.
She was, but Jennifer Tilly now is the winner.
The Big Chill was this is pre The Big Chill. Yes, so
which is a great movie, great non-horror movie.
One Dark Night, check it out.
All right, there you go. There is all the crap you can try to avoid, and one movie that you should with Meg Tilly. So let's get into the main feature, the Clovehitch Killer.
like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
All right. So I didn't watch this movie. I didn't have time. I did start watching Californication, but those are like 20-minute bites you could do
So
here and
good.
there.
Show's amazing.
So the Clovehitch Killer stars a guy who I always confuse with another guy. And I'm sure Jack will understand the two guys I confuse him with. So Jack, why don't you tell us what this movie's about?
First of all, there's a whole Saturday Night Live skit about the confusion of the Dylans.
Dylan McDermott and Dermot McDillon? Like
Rooney or whatever, Mulrooney.
Dermot Mulrooney, that's it.
Yeah, they actually make a joke about it on Saturday Night Live. I think it's Saturday Night Live.
Well, it's true. They're interchangeable.
This movie takes place in Kentucky, where a sort of Bible-toting community. 10 years ago, there was a killer known as the Clovehitch Killer, wreaking havoc upon the community, and he would leave a Clovehitch knot at the house of the person that he murdered, and he would tie them up and be mean to them.
Be mean to them.
Then he doesn't kill for like 10 years, but they have a memorial service every year to remember the victims. And now our main character is this, I don't remember anybody's name. There's this kid whose father is Dermot Mulrooney or whatever, with the Dylan
McDermott.
is the guy from The Practice and American Horror Story. And this father is like Mr. Wholesome Scoutmaster. But things start to happen where the son suspects perhaps my father is the Clovehitch Killer because he discovers some naughty pictures in his car when he's out on a date with a girl he wants to hook up with. And then he finds some stuff in his dad's shed, and it leads him to start investigating his father. And he meets up with a girl who is kind of obsessed with this case, and the two join forces. And from there, we join them on their quest.
This sounds a little like Summer of '84.
It's got a lot in common with Summer of
is.
'84. It's like Summer of '84 without the Goonies.
Okay. So
less gory, I guess, than this is a bloodless movie.
Less Goonie and so it's like World War Z. Jason, what'd you think?
I thought this was a significantly better version of Summer of '84. This movie shocked me. To be honest, Steve put a review up and some other people were talking about this. I think somebody told us about it before Steve, but I can't remember who. This is yet another one that's going to be pushing my top 10 list. It was so well done. It's one I kept thinking back, what would I change? It's not my favorite movie of the year or anything, but what did I feel like was the weak link? And I can't think of anything. The acting is great. The pacing is deliberate, but never felt slow. I kept thinking this feels more like a thriller than a horror movie, but at the same time, there were some scenes in it that I found very, very intense. So I was shocked. For a movie that just dumped onto video on demand, this is outstanding. I mean,
with a weird name. It's a hard name to remember.
Yeah, it sounds like a Cloverfield movie or something.
Yeah.
But I thought it was outstanding. Dylan McDermott is freaking amazing in this. So I loved it. Was
he in the American Horror Story episode where he was breastfeeding? Or was that Dr. Spock?
I think that was him. It was the first season, so it's been a long time.
That scene disturbed me to know.
First of all, it's Mr. Spock. Stop sounding.
I'm sorry. I missed Dr. Spock. I know. I'm sorry. Whatever.
Hey kids, you got to turn off the Dr. Spock and do your homework.
Turn off that Star Treks. So, Jack, what you think?
I like this movie. Actually, if I put it side by side with Summer of '84, which you will naturally do if you've seen Summer of '84, I like this movie better than Summer of '84. Because I think it's a better written and acted movie. And Dylan's acting is what everybody's going to talk about. He's tremendous in this movie. He's like menacing.
He's menacing without being menacing. It's how he did it is so.
And then
creepy.
He gets uncomfortable as you start to get deeper into the movie. He is just he goes down some roads. When we get to the spoilers, there's like one thing that kind of prevents me from. I don't know where this will end up on my list. I definitely like this movie a lot, and enjoyed it. And I want to talk to you guys about the ending of it to see if what I feel is justified or am I just something I've got to work out. There's this one little thing about the ending that bugs me. But
Okay.
other than that, I'd say this is definitely a good watch.
Yeah.
Now, since I can't believe I brought up Summer of '84, and you guys are saying it's kind of like that. Is it a period piece or is it set in modern day?
That's what I couldn't tell.
They do a good job of kind of making this. The only thing that really tips you off is some of the cell phones, but other than that,
okay.
they kind of the time frame it's almost like it follows where it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking late 2000s because of the tech, because the main kid has a flip phone, but other people have smartphones.
Yeah, the father's got like an iPhone.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe late 2000s, or maybe they were just doing it to, kind of throw you off. But they did a good job of that.
I just assumed it was now because there's nothing to make you think it's not now. At the same time, it's vague.
Yeah, it's a very small town, so there aren't flashy cars, there aren't new vehicles. Like the truck everyone drives around's old as shit. So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter, to be honest.
One of the great things about this movie is I mentioned that it's kind of a Christian community, and one of the things that they play with is, there's a lot of very good people in religious circles and things like that, but we also know there's a lot of politics and a lot of judgment and things like that. And so there's definitely an underlying theme in this movie of the stigma of things. So there's a point where the kid is dealing with his reputation, and people are judging him, and he's getting sort of outcast. And having run in different religious circles, you see the best in people, and then sometimes you see really the worst in people. And this kid really struggles with the image he has because of some things that happened to his reputation and things that he's worried about, and his interactions with some of the more like super duper churchy people that he has to deal with.
Yeah, at the beginning, you feel really bad for him. He goes from he's about to get laid to no one in the school wants to talk to him. It's pretty rough. I did feel really bad for him. I wanted to mention this could have been called the BTK killer, the bind, torture, kill guy who was the deacon in his church, and didn't he work for animal control or something? He was, a deacon. He was all these things, and I think he even had the glasses and everything.
That's probably inspired by that.
So I kept watching this thinking, man, this could be about the BTK guy. But they really did a good job kind of honing in on that wholesome image, the kind of the mask. Just phenomenal job with that stuff. No?
I'm waiting for Jack.
Nothing?
He looked like he was going to say something. I said, all right, I'm going to hang back.
No, I wanted to see what kind of clever interview question you had for us, since you didn't.
Well, you said that this is a movie about a murderer, but there's no blood. Is there any murdering, or is there implications of murder?
I don't want to answer that.
There's some. We'll allude that's right. There's some violence. There's some evidence of crimes, including some photographic evidence that implies or shows the aftermath of killing. But there's a very, very lack of there's no graphic kills in this movie.
It's not a slasher. No.
There's some to use I don't know whose drinking word it is, but there's some bondage in this movie.
Oh,
yeah, there's a couple bondage pictures. This movie's about the journey of the kid, really. He goes from his dad is his hero, and he's a good kid. I mean, as far as teenagers go, his rebellion is very minimal. And it's really about, as he starts to wonder if his dad is the killer, it's his kind of journey with accepting it or not accepting it, looking into it. It's like when you first realize your dad's not Superman when you're a kid, but on steroids, just like way worse.
He's the guy from the James Gunn movie instead.
I can't believe I'm 50 and just realized my dad was Mr. Skin.
My dad was Dr. Spock.
I wish I knew this while he was alive. I could have called him this all the time. What's up, Mr. Skin?
The kid also did a solid job acting in this, particularly one scene at the end is just he does such a good job. And the girl, I thought, did a good job too, kind of being the stereotypical tough weirdo girl, but her character came around and wasn't as... When she first appeared, I was like, oh god, we've seen this character 80 times. But she did good. She did a good job.
Yeah, there's some stuff I want to save for kind of the we don't need to go into huge spoilers, but there's a few things that are better left for spoilers.
Well, would you, if you were given the chance to buy this on Blu-ray at Chiller Theater for $15, would you buy it?
No.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, I would get a disc of this. Although I'm not sure if watching it multiple times, because there's not a ton of action or crazy kills or something. I don't know if I'd have the same kind of emotional reaction to it or not. But this is the kind of movie I want to give money to. So yes,
I actually would like to watch this movie again because, as I said, the writing is good, and we can get into a little bit of this in spoilers. But it's one of those movies that I think a second watch you'll be looking for some things.
Could be, yeah.
To see if you see, because there's some work with from whose perspective you're seeing things from that goes on that I think a second watch would be warranted for this movie.
Oh, yeah, okay. Now I know what you're talking about in particular. Yeah, actually, yeah, that would be fun.
This might be strange, but when I first saw the coming attraction, I was going, I wonder if this has that same vibe as Super Dark Times. I don't know why I caught that vibe, and it probably has nothing to do with it.
Actually, that's also a good companion movie to this. I really like that movie a lot too. It's closer to Super Dark Times than to Summer of '84, because I think Super Dark Times feels more, and this feel more real, and Summer of '84 feels like you're watching a movie. Whereas this kind of feels more like it could actually happen, I guess.
With that 80s soundtrack, they were pushing on you like crack. It's like, all right, we get it. Here we get it. It's an homage.
Actually, maybe a combination of the two would be good. Yeah, that's not bad.
It's pretty good for a guy who didn't see the damn movie, right?
It's not bad.
Pretty good. All right, so look, I think we can do some spoilers right now. So I'm just going to tell everybody, earmuff alert, spoilers.
Go see it. Go rent it, rather.
Yeah, check it out. Definitely check it out.
Buy it for $15 on Blu-ray at Chiller.
There's not a lot I would buy for $15. I don't buy Blu-rays.
That's why I asked you, because I know you don't buy movies at Chiller.
It's got to be something it's hard to find or that I super duper love.
Exactly.
So, all right, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Okay, can we talk about the ending real quick here?
Do it.
So, spoiler. Yes, the father is the Clovehitch killer. Yes, the son finds out, and the girl and the guy. Hunter, do you want to hear this?
I don't care. I'll forget it in 2 days. It doesn't matter.
That's true. They end up, the father almost kills them. And one of the great things about this movie is that the son keeps realistically giving the father the benefit of the doubt, even when he knows the father is a bad dude.
Yeah.
Kind of like you would do. And then the father at one point just flat out tries to kill him.
Yeah.
They end up overpowering him, and they kill the father, but I guess they kind of stage like a suicide. And the only thing I kind of felt like, I don't know if it was out of character for the characters in the movie, or if it was just not earned, but I wasn't sure if the characters in this movie were able to do that. Like, was that really... I understood why they would do it, because the kid didn't want it to get out that his father was the killer, of the damage it was going to do to all of their lives if it came out. So this was a better solution. But being able to pull that trigger and actually do that, I wasn't sure if I felt like that those two were capable of that. What do you think of that?
When they first said what happened, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. But the more I kept thinking about it, with what happened to her mom at his hands, and the fact that he's his father's son, and his father just tried to kill him twice, and with the whole wanting to protect his mom thing, I bought it. And I thought they even did a good job with the gun, like up to his face. It was like tough.
That's the reason why I kind of got over it, because when he hands the father his gun and then the father pulls the trigger and it's not loaded, I'm like, okay. So right there, that was the last straw for the son.
That's the scene I was talking about when I said the son does a really good job acting at the end. When his dad pulls the trigger and the gun's empty, the look on his face was just like... And Dylan McDermott, that was my favorite scene from him too, because it was the first time the mask came off and he just wasn't pretending to be, Joe Boy Scouts church deacon guy. He was just who he was. And I thought that was just phenomenal scene. It was so intense.
And one of the reasons I love this movie, is because I kept putting myself in the kid's shoes and going, what if this was one of my parents?
Yeah.
They would have so much more of a chance against me because they could talk me out of things and they could, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I would, when he basically burns all the evidence with his father.
Yep. Not basically.
Yeah.
I would have straight up killed my parents.
I thought this was done really well, that you understand why he doesn't want to believe it.
No, I could see as a kid, you don't want to believe that your parent is that way. Absolutely. But then if you get the wrong kid and the wrong parent, he'll be like, oh, I hate this guy. This is my chance to kill this mother effer, and it's justified.
So, Hunter, when you see it, really where this movie kicks it up a notch is, I don't know, halfway through the movie or whatever, where you really start to, you understand that the guy is really the killer. You kind of know for most of the movie anyway, but once you really start to see him in action, he stalks a soccer mom from the supermarket. But first he had to burn all of his bondage porn. So he basically dresses up like a woman and poses in bondage poses.
Oh my God.
And then just looking at the photos of himself and stuff. And there's all kind of very Hunter Shea-ish.
This is what I do on a Wednesday night.
Saturday night.
I like to burn my porn while I'm dressed up like a woman.
So you've got this actor that we've seen in a million things, really just going out and laying it all out there, everything. And then when he basically abducts the woman, this movie is firing at all cylinders now. And so it's not the most gory thing, but it is definitely intense.
Very intense. That scene was very Zodiac, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that a lot.
The scene by the lake.
Yeah. There were a couple times in this movie where I felt very intense because I think it was the kid. So you were saying you would have just killed your parents, but this kid was such a pushover at the beginning, and he was such a soft spoken kid. It was the idea of him ever doing anything to his dad at the beginning of the movie just felt completely impossible. But it was a good arc, to be honest. And yeah, some of those scenes, man, they were intense. Very intense without, there's no torture or anything like that. It was just oh God.
And whereas the summer of 84, the main kid, as he uncovers clues and things like that, you really feel like you're watching a movie. Whereas this, the kid, when he finds hidden evidence of his father's actions, it feels real. He finds it under the floorboards in a shed.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he finds a map and it matches his house blueprint, and he finds a frickin' torture dungeon under their house. And he goes in and you could just tell that it reeks in there. It was those little touches like that you're watching, you're going, this is a step above. Summer of 84 is a very good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
This is a step above it just because it felt more genuine, and it does. The look on the kid's face as he's going through it is just what the hell have I just found?
That sounds cool.
It really is. I don't think any of us, when we watched Summer of 84, thought this is going to be on our top 10 list at the end of the year, right? But this I watched, I thought, yeah, this will probably sneak in there. It's definitely a cut above. Not that was a bad movie, but this is a cut above. Then I wanted to mention, this is the director is Duncan Skiles, and this is his second movie. And the first one was a comedy in 2004 that has 21 ratings on IMDb. So
wow.
How the hell he got this movie, I don't know. But
where did he go?
I don't know. He crushed it, though. He did a really good job.
Wow.
The way I kind of think about my top 10 or 13 or whatever we decide to do is I always just imagine that I have a stack of Blu-rays. And if I had to hand you 10 or 13 Blu-rays and say, watch them, and here's the order that you should watch them in, that's how I kind of determined my list. So this is a contender because this is one of those ones that are like, oh yeah, you should definitely watch that movie. It's good. And it's just a matter of, does it beat other stuff that might be in there? So, but regardless of whether it's on that list or not, it's a quality watch. The performances are the bedrock of it, and the writing is like the backbone of it.
Yeah, definitely.
I still want to watch it now, even though I know how it ends.
My the way I'm kind of thinking about doing my list this year is just what's been sticking with me the longest. Obviously, this is new, but there's a movie I watched a couple months ago that's still sticking with me that we didn't really talk about too much. So this is one that I think is probably going to stick with me. If nothing else, just the ending, the last act of this was so well done. I'm just going to be thinking about it for a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like
the scene where he actually abducts the woman is one of the best scenes of the year.
Yeah. I don't think there's any music or anything.
There's no music. And there's a little bit of humor to it in a dreadful, terrifying way.
Yeah, I thought he was disarming her with the whole back thing, just making her feel relaxed. No, he threw his back out.
He threw his back out.
He's trying to murder this woman, but his back's killing him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was good. That was real good. Because I remember when he was climbing in the window, he was doing it kind of upside down in this awkward way. And my wife and I were like, what the hell is he doing? Why'd he climb in like that? And he kind of blew his back out doing it.
Well, he's not young anymore.
No, we looked him up. He's 57, something like that.
Yeah.
Is he? Damn, he looks good
up there.
Yeah. All right. I think that's everything I have.
That's two thumbs up.
That was a good pick.
That's 2 snaps in a circle. All right. So this says Final Guy approved.
Yeah.
Final Guy
Clovehitch
approved.
killer.
We're definitely.
You know, we could use suggestions for next week's movie too. We didn't talk about it.
I have one.
Well,
never mind.
What's your suggestion?
There is a new horror comedy on Shudder called "You Might Be the Killer."
Oh, I've heard of
it. Got Willow from Buffy and How I Met Your Mother. Isn't it?
Allison Hannigan.
Allison Hannigan.
Oh wow, I haven't seen her in a while.
And it's brand new, just hit. And this tweet that I'm reading says one of the best horror comedies I've ever seen. I don't know if this tweet is worth anything
by
or not.
Allison Hannigan's mom.
By A. Hannigan.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I've actually heard of that movie.
I literally like 5 minutes before we logged on, I saw that on Twitter. I was like, oh.
No, I was gonna say we could do that, or we could do a holiday movie.
It's got a good rating on IMDb.
Well, there we go. Done.
Yeah, what the
There's
hell?
your movie. There's your Christmas present, everybody. What's it called again? I Know You're the Killer.
Yeah, You Might Be the Killer.
You might be.
You might be the killer. All right, sure. That sounds good.
You said it's on Shudder?
Shudder. I looked it up before we got on it. I bookmarked it.
Shudder, if you don't start paying us, so help me God, I'm going to come visit you where you live.
We're sending you 2 or 3 people a week.
Good Lord. So anyway, if you like this show and you want us to continue, because it's now the end of the year, we have to go look at our books. We have to do the end of the fiscal year, the end of the physical year, the end of the fistful of years, and take a look and see, will we continue this? Who knows? This could be a cliffhanger. You gotta like us and rate us and love us if you want us to keep this up, because we get nothing out of this except the joy of ragging on each other.
Which is joyful.
It's not bad.
It's quite joyful. I agree. So anyway, go to iTunes, please give us some ratings and reviews. That would be the best holiday present you can give us.
Or retweet us when we promote the show.
Do something to tell the world that you actually enjoy this show.
Download those iTunes because we need those. Now we're pandering.
We're pandering. It's ponderous. It's Christmas time. It's the time to beg for shit. I'm going to get the bell.
Collard Queens. Mom's cooking chicken
next week.
Collard greens.
And I'm going to do that. So anyway, that's a wrap for tonight. So I hope you all had a great time. And now it's time to turn out the lights and go to bed.
Happy Clovehitch.
Bye.